Assalamu alaikum. Think and grow rich. Can you really think and grow rich? That is a big challenge, and a lot of the discussions that I have with people regarding this specific book, they normally talk about, okay, do you really mean that we can get rich by just thinking? And it's not like that, right? So I want to explain all of that because I believe that the words of the book were kind of meant to be simplistic, and we will talk about that in a later video sometimes because it's better to keep things simple to get the points across. Like, for example, Jeff Bezos, the letters that he writes to his shareholders, they found out and they determined that an 8-year-old can even understand what he writes. So anyway, that we won't digress from the topic of why the topic is so simplistic in its nature, just being called out Think and Grow Rich. Essentially, I want to talk a little bit more about the book. There's like 15 chapters in the book, and I'll read through one of them and then explain what it means in that specific chapter. Of course, we won't make a complete deep dive, but so when we say the word think, it does not necessarily, it is basically driven from the fact that, okay, you are visualizing the whatever you want to achieve in your life, and based on that visualization, that then somehow manifests into your reality. That is basically what the essence of this is. So a lot of people actually get thrown off by the book that, okay, you just thinking and getting rich. But anyway, just wanted to call that out. The chapter where it starts, chapter 2, is regarding the desire part. And for anything that you need to achieve in life, Napoleon Hill, of course, highlights that you have to have a desire for that. In modern times, Simon Sinek has actually related that same concept with the why. So, they say that, okay, why do you want to do what you want to do? You can't excel at something unless your why is not clear. So, Napoleon Hill kind of correlated that part with the desire piece, and now that has been more simplified into the concept of the why part. The other chapter is around faith. So the whole visualization aspect of it. Okay, you should have faith in what you are working towards, and you should have a realization that, and the blind faith that what you are trying to achieve, if it does not harm anybody else and you do not take anybody else's rights away, because that's one of the things that is also mentioned in the book, and it is all legal and ethical, then you should have the faith that you will be able to achieve it as well. So hoping for riches in life, that does not take somebody else, does not make somebody poor. There is also the concept of abundance in the book, that we do not believe in the concept of abundance, that everybody's life can actually be improved. So these are those things that are also talked about. There's another chapter about auto-suggestion, which is also leading into the earlier chapter that we talked about regarding the whole visualization and desire part, because it aligns with that. You have to keep on, for a lack of a better word, fooling your brain that you can achieve this, and you create certain situations and dynamics around you in a way where you are able to suggest to the brain that this is what you are already achieving or will be able to achieve essentially. Then the book, there's a chapter on specialized knowledge, because and Napoleon Hill probably got this, like, and these are some things which are universal truth in nature. This book was probably written in 1920, 1925, somewhere around that time, almost like more than 100 years ago. And the emphasis on specialized knowledge at that time also is that you have to have some kind of a specialized knowledge in order to be able to achieve riches. So if you are a generalist in that sense of the way, and that is, if you go to any business school, or if you go to any startup, or if you go to any guru for advice, the first thing that they will also talk about is the focus of your objective, and that is where roughly the correlation of the specialized knowledge comes about with the aspect of that. The other chapter it talks about is imagination. You should have a certain degree of imagination in order to be able to achieve something, which is also related with the desire and the visualization aspect, because unless you are not able to visualize it and imagine it, you cannot achieve it. So you also have to believe that and imagine that this can be accomplished in that sense of the way. The other chapter, the last one that I'll talk about today, which is organized planning, and we will continue over into into tomorrow. We will talk more about this. The last chapter is about, not the last chapter of the book, the last chapter what we are talking about today is about organized planning. So you have to be very much careful about all the steps that you are going to do. If you read any of the motivation books or any help productivity guides book, They will talk about things like, charting out a complete plan. Okay, what is your 5 year your goal, for example? And maybe somewhere later in the video we will also talk about this in a later videos, that how you can actually break down your 5 year goal into a 1 year goal, into a 12-month goal, into a weekly goal, into a month on a daily goal, in an hour by hour what you need to achieve in order to achieve those bigger goals. So that kind of also relates with the concept of organized planning. And some of the most, though this is not talked about in this book, but some of the other books that talk about organized planning on a day-to-day aspect at least is, and which anybody should employ, is that you should have, at the end of the day, you should take up a notebook, write down what you accomplished for the day, and kind of tie them up with your longer term goals. And then you will see, okay, how many activities that I did today which kind of relate with the bigger goal that I have in life. And then based on that, the other activity that you need to do is that, okay, for tomorrow, what are the things, like for example, last night when I was going to bed, I wrote down, okay, this is the video that I'll have to make today. And then there's the thumbnail that has to be created. How will that be created? These are the things that I lined up, and there's a couple of other things that I needed to do. So I wrote them out all up, and then this is how it's happening. Anyway, we will stop here. It is almost, I don't like to make my videos too long. We will talk about the rest of the book and the chapters tomorrow in our video. Thank you so much.